It's Nolan. Now, before we get started, make sure y'all hitting that like button. Make sure y'all sharing it on your respective platforms. Let somebody know what we're doing today. Now, let's get into the show. In the image of God, able to smite him, embracing my light. I can't leave this game without putting up a fight. These niggas clones, they digging in the zip file. Shit was way better when Hov poured out the crystal. They put the pins down, maybe I should find you a pen pal. 20-year legends with classes, they dropping mid now. I guess the mission accomplished. We were sent to demolish the infinite knowledge. We living in privates, we shipping the product for free, still looking for profit. Somebody tell me how long before this shit get abolished. I sat back and reassessed it. If we ain't got the GPS, then who giving directions? Moving out of order, we paid dues to collections. Chasing at the checks, but still skipping the checklist. Screaming gang gang, but bitching up for the detectives. Rolling plain Jane, decapitated your necklace. I done got some placements that never paid with detections. Nothing finna change, so why we talking elections? I'm on their ass. You a killer, then why you been taking photographs? All the line, this shit is making my modem crash. Niggas crying to me, but ain't putting up the cash. Suffering succotash. Don't make me stuff your ass, boy. I had the battle before they said I'm legit. Gigs out of state, I couldn't afford the trip. $100 tape, I started studying nip. Nigga, this a marathon, you better gas up the whip, fucker. What's going on, beautiful people? It's the kid J Nolan here. Welcome back to another episode of Inside the Industry, your number one source for music, entertainment, commentary, and breakdowns. Hope everybody is doing well out there. In this video, we're going to be getting into a couple different things regarding Drake. All right? Now, there's a video that's been going pretty viral of DeMizza. If you don't know who DeMizza is, he's been in the music industry for a very long time, working with artists, working with Dr. Dre, working with Mariah Carey. He's a behind-the-scenes guy, producer. Wouldn't call him an A&R, but just a executive that's worked in the industry long time, right? And he's come out and basically claiming that Drake was offered a $500 million contract from Sony in order to jump ship from UMG. And in his estimation, that is why he believes that UMG may have coordinated a public hit with Kendrick Lamar, and by putting so much resources into Not Like Us in order to halt Drake from leaving or to devalue him in the marketplace so that he was not able to get that $500 million, not $500, goddamn, from Sony. Now, do I believe this to be true? Not particularly. Do I think that DeMizza is bullshitting? Not particularly. But I would also love to know where he's getting this information from so that he would come out and speak on it publicly. Now, I know he does a lot of breaking news pieces on TikTok and on social media. Some of the stuff he says is correct. Some of the stuff is just his own theories. So I don't know what is real and what is not as it pertains to this Drake situation. But this is definitely something that the Drake fans are rallying behind on social media, and they're trying to use this as proof of some sort of nefarious scheme that was put on by UMG. But I personally think it would have been fucking idiotic for them to do this and think that they were going to get away with it, especially with a nigga like him, who they have been doing all types of backhanded, underhanded, bullshit for to keep him at the top. So if you try to create a coup of some sort to hinder him, you don't think he's going to cry foul? I just don't think that they would be so short-sighted. You know what I'm saying? But who knows? They claim Drake kept the lights on over there for a lot of Universal artists who didn't recoup, artists who couldn't sell all that well, artists who, didn't meet the measure of what they were projecting. And the excess that he was providing to the label is what kept a lot of people lights on. I don't know that, you know what I'm saying? But I'm just saying that's what they say. That's something that's been very prevalent in the music business conversation for many years now. So I can only say that the people have been saying. Also, in this video, we're going to get into the Ville, JV from the Ville, you know what I'm saying? He has a video out where he claims that he believes that in UMG's documentation in the back and forth with the lawsuit that Drake filed, that they made reference to his Iceman persona in their rebuttals for the motion to dismiss. I don't know if I necessarily, I mean, number one, if Drake had an album, a solo album that was coming called Iceman, I do believe UMG would have known about it. He is signed to Republic, which is a subsidiary of UMG. Lucian Grange supposedly was Drake's, right hand man, rich baby daddy. Whatever Drake wants, he gets. Open budget. Yeah, I would think that they have pretty good understanding of what his plans are on a solo level. But he makes some pretty compelling findings in terms of looking up the language in the rebuttals. Not to mention Drake's history of speaking on his mob ties and his LLC being called Frozen Moments LLC, which could mean that he's been calling himself Iceman behind the scenes for many years before. And this is just a persona that he's now bringing to the public with this album. I don't know. We're going to get into it and let him speak, Shout out to the Ville. But first, let's get to the Mizza.
But Drake is a little bit different. Now, Drake is one of the smartest guys out there.
Okay.
His team is really smart. I mean, they own the rigging. They own the lighting. They promote it themselves. They're their own apparatus, and that's why Drake is the one doing this, is his people are a little bit smarter than the average bear. So when it comes to touring and leverage and stuff like that, he doesn't have a whole lot of, he owns the plane. Look at the deal he did for the plane. It was a shipping company that he did the plane deal with, where it was basically a trade. Say that you're doing this for us. All you got to do is pay for your gas. We'll let you use the plane. You know what I mean? And we'll refurbish it for you and all of that stuff. Just use it on tour and say our name. You know what I mean?
So he doesn't have to put up his catalog necessarily.
Nah, and you also have to remember this. The reason why this case is going on is they gave him $400 million. Okay, Universal gave him $400 million.
For what?
For as an advance on his royalties.
Okay.
Well, he recouped that within the year and a half, something like that. Was already in renegotiations. Then Sony came along, said we'll give you $500 million. And he had leverage. But then Sony or Universal was like, no. And then that's what this case is about. Okay, did you release Kendrick and sabotage me to get my numbers down so that I didn't have the leverage to get this money? And because I was going to go to Sony, you wanted to ruin it. And that's what we went through with Mariah, was they were trying to devalue her brand at the end of the Sony run when we did Heartbreaker, and Tommy was actively out there. The J-Lo thing, the Ja Rule thing, all of that stuff was to devalue her brand before she jumped labels. So it's normal for labels to play this gangster tactic.
So in the Miz's estimation, he is saying that Universal basically heard through the grapevine that Drake was allegedly supposed to get $500 million from Sony, that he allegedly had made up, had recouped his entire $470 million or whatever it was that they gave him within a year and a half to 2 years, which is a massive amount of money to recoup in 2 years. Not to mention whatever he was given for his touring deal that we've seen he's been fulfilling. There would need to be some confirmations on that. Maybe we'll get some level of confirmation with the ongoing suit. A lot of the contract details and things of that nature are going to be sealed from public view, so we won't be able to see that, but maybe it'll come up in court. Maybe it'll come up in deliberations, or maybe it'll come up in, depositions or things of that nature. We'll just have to see what type of standing Drake really was in with UMG. But basically he's saying that they're trying to sabotage him on the way out. Now, this isn't the first time that I've heard of a label trying to sabotage an artist on the latter part of their contract so that they can't go and be of full value to the next company, right? I've told y'all this before. When Alicia Keys decided to go independent about 2 years ago, she did a Twitter Spaces. It had Jay-Z. It had a lot of people from the industry, Swiss Beats, all these different types of people in the spaces. And that was something that they discussed in the conversation on her way out, was that the label was being gracious to her and gave her, the proper promotion, the ability to release the album instead of putting it up, instead of basically telling her that the music's not good enough, or trying to say, hey, you're cold in the marketplace. We need to do X, Y, Z. We need to put you with this person, that person, whatever. She was like, hey, they were actually good to me on the way out. They let me put out a double album. They let me do everything that I wanted to do on the way out. And there's many artists in the industry who have had the opposite experience, who ended up being treated poorly, to where they had to basically sit on the shelf for 2 years, 3 years, so that they could get cold again. And then when the next label came to try to get them, they would have questions about the value, right? Remember when Sierra was talking about putting out Level Up with her label, right? When she was previously signed, and the label didn't believe in Level Up, right? They let her go because they didn't believe in her no more. They could have said, this ain't good enough. We're not going to let you go. We're going to keep you under contract, but we're going to keep declining all of the music. They actually let her go because they like, fuck it. That song whack. We don't like it no way. That's what the label was saying. She went out, put it out independently, did the music video, paid for it, did the treatment, all that good shit. That turned out to be another major part of her career. You know what I'm saying? She can't do a motherfucking set without that song now. And ever since, she's been doing like little one-off single deals with labels and going back and forth between partnership with label to completely independent, different stuff like that. Again, a lot of artists have not had that same freedom. Now, do I know definitively that Drake is going through some sort of sabotage? No. Do I believe it? Not necessarily. But I do believe that they probably would want to stay in business with him. I mean, he has been a tremendous cash cow for the label, not to mention that they've had to do so much for him in order to keep him comfortable. You know what I'm saying? Even going to the lengths of censoring other artists' music from saying anything against him. So yeah, they got a lot of skin in the game as it pertains to him, but hey, unless they can prove it in court that UMG did this, which ultimately they would try to blame UMG for going to Kendrick to sully his name by putting those diss records out. I don't believe that Kendrick was a part of that. I don't believe that somebody invited Kendrick to some boardroom and said, hey man, this is your opportunity to go at Drake. He's vulnerable and we'll put the firepower behind it to end him. He's trying to leave the label. I just don't see him as that type of puppet to where he would come out and do that on behalf of the label. Right? I feel like if he wanted to go at Drake, it's because they had already had a decade of exchanges below the radar, although many of us knew. And we're like, man, you know what? Fuck this shit, man. Top can't stop me. Them niggas, you know what I'm saying? I still fuck with them niggas over there, but I'm my own man. I sign my own checks now. Fuck this nigga. And I think ultimately that's probably what's going to be discovered, because it's very possible, and I saw somebody the other day that mentioned this, that Kendrick may have to, really do a deposition of some sort, or speak to the nature of his diss tracks in the trial. I don't know. It's possible that he won't. It's possible that he will. For those of y'all, I know I got some people that watch my channel that are deeper in the law profession. Y'all let me know if that's something that you project. I can't speak on that, definitively. Now, let's get to the Ville and this whole Iceman thing. We talked about the Iceman thing, Richard Kuklinski, the other day. So I did a little bit of editing to his video to where it wouldn't reiterate things that we already spoke about, but I will let him get into his theory surrounding this Iceman character and UMG's knowledge of it, and perhaps alluding to it in their legal rebuttals.
All right, y'all. So I'm just going to cut to the chase. Drake has been dropping clues about this Iceman album. But what if I told you there was somebody that was hinting towards this album before him? What if I told you in the lawsuit that Drake has against UMG? What if they were the first entities or one of the first people to bring up Iceman in the first place? Now, one of the people, at least, because if Drake has been dropping clues about this album, UMG is one of them as well. Because we know at this point, Drake has dropped 5 solid clues about Iceman up until this point. One of them was a racer by the name of Kimi Räikkönen, right? Kimi Räikkönen, his nickname is Iceman due to his ice cold attitude on and off the track. That was the first reference. The second reference was a company called Iceman over there in Canada. It's like an ice truck company, from my understanding. The other clue was wearing the Iceman jacket on Aiden Ross's stream. The other clue was on Plot Twist when he had the Iceman download file posted on his burner account on Instagram. So these were the main clues. But the key one that I want y'all to follow along with was when he would name himself after Iceman as well as other people. You know, the racer Kimi Räikkönen, his name was Iceman. His nickname is Iceman, as well as the character from Top Gun, Val Kilmer. His nickname was Iceman as well. Also posting various IG stories of Iceman entities. But the kicker here is when UMG had talked about this lawsuit, when UMG was trying to do the motion to dismiss against Drake's complaint, they had.
Now, what I find interesting there is that Almighty page on Twitter, that's a Drake Stan page. They were posting about Iceman last year. That was I think that was August of last year, where they were talking about this Iceman stuff, all right? So, just in case anybody didn't see that real quick.
Mentioned something that is similar to the Iceman references. So, like I said, Drake likes to name himself after Iceman, as well as other personas, as well as other people who have gained the name Iceman. Drake named himself Iceman and mentioned other people with the same nickname. And there's one person that has the nickname Iceman that I think Drake failed to mention. And it's the reason why I think that UMG had kind of sneaked them in a way. One person that Drake failed to mention was this other man that has the nickname Iceman, and it's this gentleman by the name of Richard Kuklinski. But in this lawsuit, we have to remember when Drake had submitted his complaint, UMG had requested a motion to dismiss by responding to the complaint and pointing out Drake's fake persona of being a mobster, because it just seems so very odd just to point out. I just thought at one point they were just getting back at him, trying to diss him in the lawsuit. But I think it might have been a way to hint towards this Iceman album. Now, following the theme of Iceman, Drake has had an LLC or incorporation back as far as May 7th of 2009 with the name Frozen Moments LLC, right? This still gives into the theme of Iceman. And let's not forget, this is also the same LLC that he used to go against UMG in a legal battle. It says here the petition filed by Drake's firm in Frozen Moments LLC accused UMG of launching a campaign to manipulate, saturate the streaming services and airwaves. So here is proof enough as well. Following the Iceman theme,
that is a fact. The petition that was out there in, I think, Texas, if I'm not mistaken, was the one that was under Frozen Moments. So, yeah. And, the petition was him, flexing his muscle, poking around, letting it be known, you guys can either comply with what it is that I'm asking for, or I can move forward with the full-on lawsuit, which we're now fully engulfed into lawsuit mode, which, how hip-hop is that?
Had went against UMG using the Frozen Moments LLC. And I think, in my mind, we'll keep it alleged, when Drake submitted the complaint to UMG, this was UMG's response. They said that Drake has made obviously non-factual claims about himself in his own music, including that he has connections to organized crime and has been involved in mob hits. With lyrics, an example, I F with the mob and I got ties. I got a lot of ties. I got a lot of ties. Knock you off and pay their ties. From Drake's song, Mob Ties from Scorpion. This is when he talks about those lyrics in the song, and people have talked about his affiliations with Jay Prince and other people in the streets alike. This is what people are alluding to when they talk about Drake having mob ties. But this is also UMG referencing how Drake likes to look at himself as a mobster with the name Iceman. All right, so now this is the next thing that they say in the lawsuit. Drake's own diss tracks employed imagery at least as violent.
Now, what I will say about that that footnote that UMG had in there. I think the point of that footnote was to point out the lengths of his hyperbole, to basically counter, to say, hey, Kendrick's lyrics about Drake are hyperbole, exaggerations, fictitious, it's art. And basically pointing out things that Drake said as well, to say he does the same thing in his music, where he makes threats, he exaggerates greatly his criminal ties or whatever. So why is it that he can sue and use another artist's lyrics against them when he has lyrics that are kind of in the same ballpark as far as, violent threats, or, just any level of hyperbole of things that will make him seem more sinister or more tough than he actually is, right? So why is it okay for him to do it, but nobody else can do it? So I do believe that's what the purpose of that footnote was. But being that he's building this story around this Iceman thing, and of course Iceman allegedly had ties to the mob, and then you have Drake claiming mob ties, he's, got his conspiracy hat on.
Such as gunshots, lyrics saying, "You're dead, you're dead. There's nowhere to hide. I'll your throat with the azer." And yeah, books are stuffing in each chamber. You're is in extreme danger. All of these crazy hyperbolic things that Drake is saying in his lyrics sound like things that a mobster would say. If you read from right here, everything that is quoted, these are lyrics and these are phrases that you would think a mobster would say. Saying things like this to somebody gives off the type of energy of somebody who claims that they have mob ties, or claims that they're going to do something very horrific, similar to what a mobster would do. But I'm just saying, these are the lyrics that they're pointing out, as well as the lyrics from Family Matters. And this is the one that gets my attention the most. After quoting the lyrics, right, they say, in short, as with his defamation claim, Drake seeks to chill a form of artistic expression that he himself has embraced. Drake seeks to chill a form of artistic expression. Seeks to chill a form of artistic expression. Kind of like how he seeks to chill the.
Hell no, I am going back to the goddamn the icy beard photo, the frozen beard, Mr. Frozen Moments himself. Damn, boy. Your ass looking real chilly in this motherfucking photo, though. I ain't gonna lie. Motherfucking Neanderthal. Anyway, but yeah, that's JV from the Ville, and he says he believes that when UMG said Drake seeks to chill an art form, that they possibly were also alluding to the Iceman persona. Now, me personally, I don't know. I think he did some good work here. But as far as the chill part, y'all could let me know. That sounds like legalese to me. Sounds like, him trying to chill an art form is basically him trying to, create an impact that will fuck up the art form. I guess they could have used another word to convey that. But maybe, because what we do know is whoever was writing up the paperwork for UMG, they had a very astute understanding of the lyrics. They had a very poetic type of, writing style as far as those motions to dismiss and the rebuttals coming from UMG. So maybe they did, throw some entendres in that bitch that are just now being caught by the people. I don't think that's necessarily the place to do it, but maybe, y'all let me know what y'all think. All right. And if you want to see the full video, because this was slightly edited, you could go on the Ville's channel if you haven't already seen it. All right. Show him some love, give him some likes. You know what I'm saying? Support the people out here. But that's what I got for y'all on this one, man. Let me know what y'all think of all this down below in the comments. Be sure to like and share this video. If this is your first time seeing me on YouTube, go ahead and subscribe to the channel, become an insider, and I will catch y'all on the next one. Y'all be good out there. Enjoy your weekend. And shout out, I'm wearing my Dreamville shit today. Shout out to Jid. He's about to drop his project, The Prelux, tonight. I may do a little listening on here if YouTube ain't tripping. And if I do, and YouTube tripping, I may just put it on Patreon or something. You know what I'm saying? Just to stimulate the Patreon over there. Because I do want to give Jid some attention. I do feel like he's one of the dopest niggas out here that deserves it. So, we'll see. But I'm going to catch y'all in a little bit. Y'all be good out there, man. Peace. King of my city and cul-de-sac. Coming out swinging like soldier rags. Leading my people like quarterback. Boy, I study this shit, I'm an almanac. Had to get up and grind. Knowledge is booming, I'm here to apply. Came with the chip and the dip, it just single the mind. We finna do more than survive. I need my check. Spinning the block for the Gouda. We hitting the jeweler to flood out the net. We don't do beef on computers, I'm straight out the sewer. We come when you rest. Niggas be looking perplexed, so keeping my foot on their neck. No map, I trust my gut for the quest. But drama, I'm fully abreast. I was ready for years and they doubted me. All of a sudden they tell me they proud of me. I been dropping these haters like calories. Cross them out, I came back with some boundaries. Stand for my honor, but too raw, no corner. Packing the stick with a drummer. Wanna catch my bad, won't fumble. I done came too far to be humble.